Welcome to Be Here Now, where presence invites perspective and allows peace. We are live on the new streamingnetwork.com TV and podcast, as well as WGSN-DB Going Solo Radio. If you would like to support Be Here Now in a free way, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today's topic, can family trauma affect parenting?
Oh boy.
I know. I am here with I am Judy Forder, and I am here with my co-host in peace, Miss
Janice Leonard. Hi, everybody. Hi, Judy.
Hi,
It's great
Janice.
to be here. Thanks, everybody who's here and watching. We appreciate it. Judy and I come here every week, and we try to share our tools and stories or whatever that can help you be more filled with love, peace, and safe or whatever. And we're working on it, and hoping we can work together and make our lives better. We work for a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we have a website, www.peacefulempowermentworks.org. And if you want to, you can go there, and we have a donations button on the top and on the bottom, and you can write it off on your taxes. And we're going to start doing this again. We're going to start doing, if you make a $25 donation, we will send you a t-shirt that I will make. If you do $50, we will send you a sweatshirt. We're starting it up again. I don't have our new logo. I'm thinking it's going to be easy enough to get into it. But for right now, or if you want to wait till then, we can make one up for you. I've got lots of different t-shirts I've made with different sayings on them. So I can do any of the shirts I've made. You can come up with your own you want. You just let me know. Mm-hmm. I won't know if you make the donation unless you need to email us. And our email is peacefulempowermentworks@gmail.com. So please feel free if you're able to, and if you want some free tchotchkes or t-shirts, come on. I'm thinking of making coffee cups, but I have so many that I'm thinking maybe other people have too many. So if you're interested in coffee cups, I can do that too. Well, I'm interested in doing that. I don't have this stuff yet.
Can you tell has recently retired and is looking for things to keep her busy?
Something like that. But I don't want to get too busy with that. And no, geez, I tell you, doing the real work, it takes a lot of time and energy. Wow. So this topic this week, it got me, man. This is my thing now. I've actually started watching some podcasts on trauma and the effects of trauma. So it's like, wow. So let's see if we can get through this all in a good way, good, positive, learning, growing way.
That's what we do here. Would you like to break?
Oh, please, yes. I'm going to wait till you say take a deep breath next time, because I like the breathing part with that.
I officiated a wedding last night, and it's a Wednesday night wedding, and everybody's there, and that was one of the first things I did. I was like, okay, silence your phones, and everybody take a nice deep breath.
That's nice.
Everybody had been wanting to get there, and
yeah. Well, it just really helps to ground you. I don't know. It does for me, anyways.
Yes.
You get more present because you're thinking about your lungs or your diaphragm, and yeah, I like that.
Yes, exactly. And it helped because the grooms were nervous and I was nervous, and so we all got to bring everybody right there and be present.
Cool. Good deal.
Yeah. So, Miss Janice, what are you grateful for this week?
Oh my goodness. Oh, so I'm going to tie my trauma story in with this, but when my biological grandson was born, I had my step granddaughter living with us. And we didn't adopt her yet, but we had her with us. And my grandson and her were at the same age. And my grandson had lots of energy. And the two of them together were too much for me. I couldn't, my brain, it reaches a point where you can't, well, especially after I had my head injury, I just couldn't, it was so hard. And I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not being a good grandmother to Cole. That's him. I'm not being a good grandmother to him because I'm not, being totally encompassing. And I felt awful. And as he grew older, I was able to do more, and they still, they love each other, but they don't necessarily like each other. But I'm getting so I can finally actually do things alone with Cole. And of course, I do things alone with Adriana. But so Cole, this is my Cole. And one of the things I get to do with Cole is I get to bring him to Burlington for his haircut. Burlington from my house, it's about 2 hours, and he loves the African American culture, so he loves to go there and get this special haircut from what's it cut? Oh my gosh, the K. I'm sorry, but I can't remember the name. And get his haircut there, and they do the like shaving up, and so he's beside himself. So my video that is sharing that long story. Sorry, but my video is him right after I brought him to get his haircut. And my daughter came with us that time, and she never comes with us. So it was a double treat. This is with my daughter with us, and she's making a video of him. And that's what this is. Thank you.
Hey, Daddy Bears, look at our kid. Fresh cut. Fresh cut.
Fresh cut by Shaq.
By Shaq.
No, Shaq?
He just turned 16.
Shaq?
Well, now 2 minutes ago. But 1 minute ago, literally as he was walking out of the store, at the barber shop, he turned 16. Look at our handsome kid.
Okay.
Oh my.
He's like, okay, enough.
Now, the thing is he doesn't let you take pictures of him. He will not smile. He just does not like it. So I'm hoping that no one who knows him will ever watch this and let them all know.
You did have his permission though, right?
No. She put the part of it on her social media. So
okay, so yeah. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's assumed permission because she put it on her social media.
Okay. All right. That works.
Oh no.
Yeah. That adorable little smile. Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't show you a picture of him. That was good. I mean, I tried taking pictures from that, which is the ones that are here, but he won't smile and he won't be himself.
It's so frustrating. Maddie went through that phase where no pictures. And it's like, ah. Then you're going to get older and look at me and say, why didn't I have any pictures of myself, from this age to that age? Well, you wouldn't let us.
Yeah. It's just a special memory to me. It's one of my most special because it's when I start getting to spend time alone with him and bonding with him. And my daughter actually came. It's a triple extra special memory.
Oh, so much to be grateful for. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that rolls right over into a good news story as well. But what is your good news story for this week?
Good news story. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to have to pull up. I didn't do this ahead of time. Pull up the video so I can read it. Uh-oh. Bad Janice. Okay, let's see. We can do the ring again after this. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but I do have a little vision problem, so I can't read small print, but I've got it in the big print. Okay, well, it's not that big, is it? Jeepers creepers. Okay, did Silverio pull it up yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just now.
Yep.
Okay, so now I gotta bring it to that page and blow it up. Good news story. Oh yeah. Okay, so I don't know. Have any of you ever watched I got to look at it because I can't remember. Can't remember. I can't see. So there you go. That's why I retired. Okay, did you ever watch that bucket show, the Hyacinth Bucket? It's on PBS, I think it's on, or now the Brit show. Did you ever watch that show, Judy?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, this is the woman from that show, and it's a British comedy. You know, their British comedies are a little. It's different. It really is different. But she is the main character in this show, a British comedy, and she's a riot. Her and her husband. But
Mhm.
this is about her. And so this is from Country Cooking. I'm not sure why they have these great stories, but they have all kinds of them. And they're not videos, so I can show it to you and just talk about it. So this is Patricia Routledge wrote. This is Mrs. Bucket's real name. In my younger years, I worried constantly about work, about being enough. But now my days begin in peace and end in gratitude. Her life didn't truly blossom until her 40s, after years in small theaters and radio plays. After years in small theaters and radio plays, she landed the role of Hyacinth Bucket in Keeping Up Appearances at age 50. That's what the show's called, Keeping Up Appearances.
Hmm.
A part she thought minor, but which she made her beloved worldwide. And she is awesome. It's a funny show. At 60, she learned Italian so she could sing opera for joy, not work. At
Ooh.
70, she returned to Shakespeare's stage, no longer performing to prove anything, but simply being. At 80, she took up watercolor painting, flowers, hats, faces from memories. Now at 95, she writes letters by hand, bakes bread, and cherishes quiet as her dearest companion. Her message: growing older isn't the end. It can be the most beautiful chapter if you let yourself bloom again.
Hmm.
Thank you, Hyacinth.
Wow.
So, yeah, Keeping Up Appearances. That was the name of the show. Oh, she's funny. I actually haven't watched it in many years, so maybe my humor's changed now, but I used to watch it once in a while.
Yes, I feel like we've been conditioned to believe that, growing old is something that you should dread and regret. When, she didn't start really thriving until her 40s, and that's because she stopped giving a shit.
It's scary. I mean, I think this is true. I think for any life transition, whatever it is, it's scary. You have certain assumptions about it, and they meet those assumptions or they don't, or expectations. And like right now, of course, that definitely spoke to me because that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm just saying, oh my gosh, I was my job. That was my job, and I was a mother and a grandmother, and then a mother. That's who I am. And as the kids grow older, you can't just be that. If you're going to let them go, you can't, anyways. And
Right.
it's so hard figuring out who you are again and who you want to be. And okay, what does retirement mean? Retirement means you're old. So am I just now? Is it just waiting to die? Is it getting? Oh no, my shoulder! I have to have shoulder surgery. Oh no, it's my eyes, and then you get all jiggy with it, and. So any story that shows, and she was not like a skinny little woman either, which is one of my role models. If you're not thin and you still have choose happiness and growth over that, and it's perfect. I love it. It speaks loudly to me. For any of you going through transition, we're in this together. You're not alone.
Exactly. That's why I think it's great that you got your t-shirt making stuff out again, and you're tapping into your creative side. You've talked more about music therapy and drumming and things like that, and doing things that light you up. This is your opportunity to try all the stuff that you couldn't try before because you were busy working and being a parent and a grandparent. Now you have the opportunity. Not that you're finished the parenting part yet, but
apparently
we never finish the parenting part. We never finish. But now you have the opportunity to tap in and try. You tried canning. You're already doing things.
I canned 21 quart-sized jars of tomatoes.
See?
21. I hate doing anything domestic, but
See, it's funny when you said that earlier. I heard you need to change that to I used to hate doing anything domestic.
oh, I try not to hate.
You enjoyed canning.
I really enjoyed the challenge. Yes, I did.
See?
And I did it, I like tomatoes and I one of the things that is my challenge is I like to isolate. I like to isolate and it's one of my goals is to try to be a little less isolated. So I got to ask Linda May, my dear friend and wonderful person that I know, come and teach me how to do it because I've bought from her some of her canning stuff. I've seen her sell it and I thought that'd be a good excuse to have her over and it was great.
Perfect. See that, Janice? You're already pushing outside your comfort zone. You're learning new things and you haven't even retired long.
I know. I'm still doing 3 hours a week.
See? Look at you. You don't have anything to be afraid of. You're just starting to live, lady.
Hey, if Hyacinth can do it, maybe I can do it. I can do it. I mean, I can do it.
You are doing it.
I am doing it.
Yes.
Thank you.
You are doing it.
Thank you, Judy.
Oh, outstanding. Yeah, and it's funny. Is anybody else going through transition? And I feel like everybody is, whether you realize it or not.
That's true. That's true.
Things are
and I noticed
not they used to be.
Yeah, I noticed and I was listening to these effects of trauma podcasts, and I noticed that trauma, and how do you define trauma? And you get into maybe some you think, oh, you're brutally beaten or whatever, or kidnapped, but it's not. It's a bigger definition than that. It can be and is in most worlds, and it affects probably everybody. Then you get to another thing I was listening to is probably all of us have some kind of trauma. It doesn't matter if you've been living under a rock, there's probably something. And so how we respond to it, react to it, it's worldwide and it's not just one person, but the effects it has, there's just so many effects. That's why this topic is just so powerful. And it used to be, I could tell how trauma affected me at work. That's the only point I could tell that I was having issues, because I would I'd forget something, or I'd start screwing things up, or I'd forget or miss things, and that's just like, oh my gosh, I'm not being perfect at work now, so something's going on, and that's that's how only way I knew that I was being affected by something, and now it's kind of cool because through this growth I've had, and since I've gone part-time, I couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy, time, whatever, to do all this work until I went part-time. And then, you wait till you're almost full-time, and then you get lots of time. And it's like that, but you're just being more aware. I mean, you don't have the distractions. When you're working, I found you're working full-time, I was my job, and that's one of my trauma responses is I found something when I was in college. I got a job that made me feel like, oh my gosh, I do have value. I can do this job, make a difference. And that's was like one of the points in my life where I started to feel, oh my gosh, I have value. I can work, and I can work in a field that maybe helps people, and I can make a difference. And so that's, that was my worth. And it's been ever since. So.
Yes. So retiring is a great challenge. Where is your worth now?
Well, it's not just this when I was part-time too, I had to start looking at what I was doing and my behavior. And, my biggest thing is just shutting things out. And when you work full-time, then you come home at night, you're tired, and you get the kids on the weekend, and you don't have to look. You're not looking. You're not paying attention.
All you're doing is surviving.
Yeah, you're surviving. And now it's scary. It's scary how I just want my initial inclination every day is to shut down. To fight that is such a challenge. I have to play games with myself sometimes. Okay, all you have to do is get up and pick up that section of the house and then you can sit back down. Or, okay, like today, okay, so I'm doing the show this morning, this afternoon, I'm going to try canning again. I'm going to try canning salsa. I know. Maybe you can just try canning salsa. So it's like I do these little tricks now. Ugh.
Well, I mean, think about it, Janice. You're learning whole new patterns, because whatever you're able to produce is how you find your worth.
Yeah.
So the biggest challenge you're facing right now is just being Janice makes you worthy.
Oh.
And it's getting to the point where you can see that, embrace it, and really believe it.
Yeah.
You being you, showing up, willing to do the work that you're doing, that you're worthy because you're here.
And the topic, I think I kind of suggested this one because I was just thinking about how the challenges I have with parenting and how they are tied to childhood trauma or past trauma, let's just say.
Exactly.
And that's what we get to talk about today. And
yes, and you know what? This is a perfect place for us to take a break. And when we get back, we're going to dive right into it.
Great. Thanks. See ya.
Welcome back. Now, where presence invites perspective and allows peace, we're going to dive head into our topic today. Can family trauma affect parenting? Aww.
We got a message from Jennifer Clark. She says, "You are enough, Janice." Thanks, Jennifer. That's great.
Okay, so diving into this topic, of course, I go to my good friends at Psychology Today to see what they have to say about it. And so we'll quickly go through this and then, well, not quickly, we'll see where it hits for us in our own lives. So the question, can family trauma affect parenting? In times of stress, which are likely frequent while parenting, we often resort to what we know. And if our developmental years were traumatic or dysfunctional, it can be difficult to break those habits. I agree with that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I find anytime I'm under stress, that's what I'm noticing in the last few years. Stress is, I get all anxious and I get short tempered and I can't respond healthily and I go right back to that and then I have to shut down. So I mean, that's anything stressful. Never mind parenting.
Exactly.
Jeez Louise.
Parenting, with all the stress it brings, will evoke many of the manifestations of your trauma history and the coping skills you had to learn in order to navigate those experiences. We like to call them survival skills.
Oh my gosh.
We've talked about them quite a bit over the years on the show. The way you experienced love and affection as a child will likely influence how you give love and affection to your own children. Yes, I absolutely.
This is so interesting to me. Is my mother died when I was like 4. It was 4, and my stepmother, my father married when I was 6, and I think she was a very unhappy person, and it took it out on me. And my parenting now is my biological daughter. I was like, oh my gosh, this feeling, this love, I've never known this. Oh, this is incredible. And I got all, with my daughter. And my stepson, initially, I'm going to be the stepmother I never had, but he got to be pretty challenging and he had a lot of trauma himself. And I found I had to deal with feelings like my stepmother, and I was like, because he was challenging. And when he would act out, it got so, you couldn't control him, nothing I could do. And I wanted sometimes to just, my stepmother used to slap my face a lot. That was her thing. And what I'd have to do to not be violent with him. I think one time I grabbed his earlobe, and that was, I know it's not that big a deal, but it was to me, because I
Right.
vowed I would never do that. And as soon as I was with my husband, and jeepers, he was only 3, and we were getting on weekends. My husband didn't understand, timeouts and stuff like that. He just spanked, and so I've been spending all my energy trying to teach my husband different parenting skills, and help my stepson. And but even the difference, I don't know if it's because I was a stepmother, or because he was a challenging child, but my challenges as a parent was so different with him than they were with my biological child.
Right. Yeah, I feel like when a child was your biological child as challenging as him.
Oh gosh, no.
Exactly.
No.
And
No, she ended up
Yeah.
and she ended up like me, a people pleaser, and so
Mhm.
she was very easy, which is the effective parenting in a different way, which hopefully I think it'll be appropriate to talk about more later. But yeah.
Okay. So I think I highlighted 7 ways in which trauma can affect parenting. So we're going to go over those that came from the article, and we can chat about that. So one of the ways, can we hit the next one? Next slide. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Difficulties regulating your emotions, particularly anger and frustration. There you go, Janice. Reacting in inappropriate and often emotionally immature ways can make it difficult for your children to understand their own feelings and emotions. Yes, that was one that I was like, wham, there we go. Because my mother was one that was like fine until she wasn't. And that's not to say that we didn't push her buttons and earn it, but there was a lot of times where she would fly off and start screaming and yelling, and I honestly, for the life of me, didn't know what I did wrong. And it wasn't like she was yelling at me necessarily, but just yelling, and the yelling would upset me because I didn't like it when Mom was upset.
Yeah.
And then I turned around and did the same thing to my daughter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, bless my stepson. And I'd like to think that there was more good than bad in my parenting with him. Because I really loved him, and I always felt that we were like, I said, oh, we're bonds, what are the bonded, because he has issues with his mother, and I had mother issues, and soulmates. Yeah, I felt like, which wasn't appropriate to do to a child, and we know that. But I needed to add that feeling as we were soulmates. I said that, and no, I'm the adult, he's the child. But I felt him
Of a trauma bond.
Oh, well, I think it helped through a lot of years, because what I was relating to with him the years I could relate to him was we were shared trauma. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just even when I, started to become aware on this journey, the biggest reason I continued to go for the help was because of my anger issues. And I didn't want that affecting my daughter.
Yeah.
And I never tied it to the patterns I grew up with until a couple years ago, because I started to investigate the people pleaser. And how did the people pleaser come to be? And, my mother was a people pleaser too. So on the outside, and she's a very sweet lady, but the only place she could safely lose her shit was at home.
Right.
So being the kid, she had a whole nother world that she was anxious, stressed, and suffering in, and I had no idea. So when she flipped off, I immediately assumed it was about me somehow, some way.
I think kids do think it's about them.
So, when I started working on my anger issues and all those things and becoming very conscious, I did take the extra step to talk to Maddie about it when she was old enough.
Wow.
And if I would flip off and it wasn't about her, I would apologize. And, I was told never apologize to your child, never admit you're wrong. And I was thinking that doesn't feel right to me at all. And I was able to empower her too, because she was able to throw the old timeout sign if I was going off about anything, even if it had to do with her. And if she did that, I had to stop.
Oh,
If
it's
she
so
was
hard.
off and I threw it, she had to stop.
Wow. That's
So once
great.
we were able to establish that, and then we took it a step further in her teens, because, you know, teen years are hard with kids. We made the ground roll, because we both read energy. Like, if your energy's off, I'm going to assume it's not about me unless you tell me it's about me.
Mm,
And the same with her. And that, like, gave us a whole new level of, like, trust.
that's great.
And it was a way for us both to learn to manage our emotions and take responsibility for them, which was extremely helpful in my experience. But yeah, I never tied it to my mother until like a couple years ago. I just always said, you know, I was born with anger issues.
Yeah, it's interesting. My stepmother was angry most of the time.
Yeah.
And she was probably shut down when she wasn't angry with me, in my home. And that's probably how I am. So can be. I know, but it's interesting because when I was thinking about this, I can remember all the times that I was angry or, you know, out of control with my stepson and even with my adopted granddaughter. I can tell you those times when I just lost my cookies and yelled at them. But I was like, I must have done that to my biological daughter too. But I think this is my latest thing I figured. So I think I was so tied up with her, like she was me. And like, again, it was okay if I did it to me sometimes,
Right.
but it wasn't okay, you know, and she was me. So it was, I probably didn't stick with me like, oh my gosh, look what I did.
Right.
It was probably like, oh, it's okay, because I know I had hard times with her too when she was growing up. So I assume I did, but you know, like, this is something we talked about in the pre-show, is I think when you grow up in chaos, well, one of the things that can happen when you grow up in chaos or violence or whatever is it's normal to you and it's okay.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that happened to me with my daughter is I was so entwined with her, like, oh, I had that mother-daughter bond, I had that relationship, and she, you know, she was me, that it didn't stick out to me.
Yeah.
When I lost it with her. I'm sure I did, because I can remember very stressful times, and I know that's what happens to me. So that's interesting that that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely plays in, because, you know, we learn from what we see as a child. And unless we know there's a different experience, that's what we expect moving forward. So if we grow up being, you know, those that are physically abused or verbally abused, we tend to attract people that will do the same and treat us the same way, because that's what we believe we deserve.
Yeah. And it's interesting because my father was a very gentle, loving man. Although he would, you know, didn't deal with anxiety well, and he, like, I remember packing the car and him going, ah! And I was like, ah, because he was very easygoing. So I think that it's interesting that I have two parts, as you know, but it was my dad, and my stepmother was who I wanted to have to be my mother. So I think I was always looking to her to, oh my God, you know, what can I do so that she'll love me? And yeah, it's on and on. Yeah. So, you know, you can't tell me that as a person that hasn't affected me, and it therefore affects, you know, even just like, I remember the times I was really out of control with two of my kids. I remember them very well, and I'm sorry for them, but you know, yeah, there you go.
What do we say? When we know better, we do better.
Yes.
And we are making every effort to do better every single day.
Yeah.
All right. Difficulties with being an authority figure. Some may react to their children as a peer rather than as a parent. Similarly, others may react more authoritatively due to their trying to overcompensate for how they were parented as a child. This can lead to inconsistent or even non-existent discipline. And yeah, totally see that. As a teacher, you would see that too. A lot when I got to elementary school. Came across a lot of kindergarten kids that were never told no. And I think there's a lot of reasons that happens. But I know we go in, at least, my friends and everybody went into parenthood pretty much saying, my child's going to live a better life than me.
Yeah.
So we may provide more. We may, we do all these things. And one of the biggest thing that was brought to my attention is I would say, I've done all these things for her and she doesn't appreciate anything. When I was a kid, blah, 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 blah. And Tammy would look at me and she would say, she doesn't know what your experience was as a child. This is all she knows. So she's just being a kid, assuming this is what life is. Because I'd be like, I can't believe she's disrespecting me.
I mean that continues for me. I'm just trying to come to terms with, when I was growing up and as a young adult, I'd have to call my dad every week and I'd have to make sure I visited them on a regular basis, and like my grandparents. I mean, that's what I was. But, I think it's this generation, maybe parts of this generation, is they don't have the same need, or if it's not the generation, it's just because she was brought up more calmly. I don't know, but my daughter doesn't have the need to call me every day. She doesn't have the need to come visit me and do things. And I have such a problem with that. I'm like, doesn't she know? She, at least for my birthday, can't you come visit me? I get into that whole thing, and I'm trying to just, it's different. Life is different for her than it was for me.
Well, you create her to be a very independent, self-serving person, not self-serving, self-sufficient.
Yeah, where I needed them, and I needed to make sure we were connected, and it was a need, and I said, that's such a hard thing.
Well, now you get to stand in that place of empowerment and say, hey, my birthday's coming up. Can we spend some time together?
She'll say no. She's too busy. But that's the reality, is she's me. She's her job. And she works like up to 60 hours a week. And when she gets home, she is tired and she's got to clean the house. And, so it's not that's the thing, is I cannot take it personally, and she's exhausted, and that's how my trauma has affected her. She became a lot like me.
Does she base her worth on her job? That would be an interesting question.
Yeah, I bet you she does.
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny. I think of this as a teacher. I think a teacher made me more the disciplinarian than my experience growing up. Because I literally said the words to Maddie, you don't want to be the kid that ... has boogers hanging out of their nose. She's the best one-handed nose blower in the world, because you don't want to be the kid with the boogers hanging out of their nose. Ew. And that's not good, but
oh my gosh, I tried that with my Adriana now. She just has habits that are just not okay to me. But I spent years like on her about it and saying things, and it just made her feel worse.
Yeah, that's not
so and I finally just had to say, okay, be you.
Yep. Be who you can be,
Oh my gosh.
Okay, next, forming healthy bonds. When we do not grow up with healthy examples of intimacy and familiar relationships, intimacy can feel scary and uncomfortable.
We just talked about it.
Yep, we hit that one already. Perfect. All right, let's go on to the next one. Being overprotective or overcompensating. They like to call the overprotective helicopter parents. If you grew up neglected, you may overcompensate by showering your children with gifts or attention. This can feel like smothering and can take the place of healthy emotional bonds and boundaries. Overprotection is often done out of concern or fear for the child's safety, such as wanting to protect them from traumas. Spelling error. From traumas you may have experienced yourself. This can lead you to try to prevent your child from experiencing anything negative, which can stunt their emotional growth. And that's, I saw a lot of that, like I said, in the elementary school, with not telling children no, always giving them their own way because you're too tired to fight with them, which I totally understand. And the big one, like you were determined to be the stepmother you always wanted.
And we know what happened is, for him through life, his reaction to trauma, how's that for a nice way of putting it, was really, it got pretty inappropriate and even violent sometimes. And it's interesting because then I had to like separate myself because I, oh my gosh, I can't protect him. I can't do anything. And it was so hard. And that I had to kind of like, oh my gosh, put some distance. And it felt like I was being so cold and mean, it's terrible. And then also when he was violent and doing inappropriate behaviors, I accepted it, and that's one of the things that's kind of weird is, because my stepmother was violent and she would erupt and all these things. And I didn't say that's not okay.
Right.
Or I did to a point. I did when it came to my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Because then if he was because I think he was almost borderline wanted to take it out on her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was like, whoa, 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 can't do that. But still, if it wasn't for me watching out to protect my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
I think that I wouldn't have thought a thing of some of the behaviors.
Yeah. Like it's for me to handle, but don't touch her.
Yeah.
Don't go after her. Yeah. And it's funny because the fixer, identifying ourselves as the fixer, it came to my attention that as we go and fix everything for everyone, we're not allowing them to learn how to fix it themselves. So that stunts their emotional growth as well.
Hmm.
Where,
I mean, even like my granddaughter, and she has parents who, lost custody because of addiction.
mm-hmm.
And, but they're still people my stepson, I still love him. And, he's in recovery now. And so I wanted to like, let there be some relationship. Oh my gosh, 3 minutes left.
Okay. we're doing okay.
Wow. And so I had to let her have a relationship with him and learn herself what addiction can be instead of, I wanted to, no, you can't see him. You can't see him. And I had my time with that. But when he was in recovery, I had to teach her more about addiction and what could happen and be aware of it and commit to leaving if she saw these things and coming home. Oh my gosh, that was hard. Okay.
Yeah, I bet it was. I absolutely bet that was. This is a word I wasn't even aware was a word, and I challenge if it is. Parentification.
Parentification. Yep. I've heard of it.
Yep. If you never had the healthy support of a parental figure, you may unknowingly cast one of your children into the role of a surrogate spouse or emotional caregiver. This is unfair to the child and can lead to unhealthy behaviors. Mm-hmm. Putting a lot of responsibility on the child. And
I think I've did that a bit to my daughter. She was a caretaker, and I think I let her sometimes. Yeah. And that's not good.
No, that's you want to be true and authentic and as honest as you can, but it also needs to be age appropriate. Our kids aren't to carry our burdens. And that's a big one.
Yeah.
Because so many kids are growing up. I mean, our society has our kids growing up so fast now that, they don't get the opportunity to play and just be children and be kids and be safe and just loved and active and dirty and, all those things.
Yeah.
They deal with so many adult problems things are shifting though. Things are shifting, Janice, because of parents doing this work.
I let her be my caretaker. I know I did here and there. And I remember her saying once, and I think it might have been after she left the house, but I remember her saying she didn't want to take care of me anymore. So that's when I was like, had to get me to think, or not anymore. It wasn't like she took care of me all the time. That's not what she meant, or I didn't say it right, but there were times.
Gotcha. All right. Next slide. Re-traumatization. Many who were abused in childhood and did not get adequate support to heal find that their behaviors and emotions actually regress when they have children. When we are not given support to heal from our traumas, this is a natural reaction to seeing our children at the same age we were when the traumas happened.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? There wasn't a lot of talk about trauma when we were growing up, Janice.
No.
You didn't talk about that stuff. It was like, you know, rub some mud on it and you're going to be okay.
Yeah,
Don't
I don't want to.
cry about.
Yeah. It's just going to say that. I don't want to hear it. You want to cry? I'll give you something to cry about.
Yes, I mean, that was one we heard frequently. So I used that on my daughter. And it was like, oh, no, what am I doing? Immense fear of repeating the cycle.
Mm.
And yes, that can be paralyzing. Many of us worry about repeating unhealthy patterns we experienced in our own families. In some, this can cause avoidance of having children due to fears of repeating cycle. And you know what? I'm hearing a lot of that. There's a lot of kids waiting to have children or just saying, no, this world is too crazy. My life has been too crazy. I'm not doing it. So yeah. Can family trauma affect parenting? Absolutely. It most certainly can.
Yeah. I get you, and it's normal. I mean, okay, so giving myself grace. It's a normal part of growing and healing is to dealing with it and having it come out until you can address it and hopefully overcome and learn and grow from it. But it's okay if you weren't perfect and just let things happen.
Absolutely.
When you couldn't do any better, and I couldn't. So yeah.
I love that. Showering yourself with grace when we know better.
Oh, so late. We got to go.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And the final thought is all of us doing this work right now. That's what we're doing. We're healing these generational patterns. We're healing the ancestral traumas. So children and us and anyone all that come after us won't have to deal with the baggage that we've been carrying. Thank you all for doing that work.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for being here and sharing this and listening and supporting. And I hope that as you can relate to some of these stories or some of these things, that you give yourself grace and do the best you can when we can.
Yeah. So if you're all right with it, Janice, let's skip right over something to chew on. And we're just going to wrap it up and say thank you so much for joining us today and choosing to be here now with us. Please always remember,
you are not alone.
And don't ever forget, you are awesome. Thank you so much for being with us. See you
next week. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy today. Take care.